I think it all started really and unexpectedly with the trade with Hardik Pandya, because if you look at that MI dressing room, you've got obviously one of the game's greatest captains in Rohit Sharma that's brought that franchise so much success. You've got aspiring captains too. You've got Jasprit Bumrah, who's an aspiring captain, and Surya Kumar Yadav, who's an aspiring captain. So with that dynamic, I think unexpectedly that created, I think, a little bit of, friction before the tournament even started. Not that we knew at the time, but certainly as the early games unfolded, we saw that play out quite visibly as Mumbai struggled in their early games. What was quite evident throughout the tournament was the inconsistency that Mumbai showed with their bowlers deployment. They had a number of different changes. Hardik Pandya bowled at many different times of the game, and it was hard to understand why he was bowling at certain phases. Then we had the likes of someone like Kutsia, who was also bowling in different phases of the game, and then suddenly it seemed to have found his home as the new ball bowler, someone that can bowl, high pace, have an impact in those very early overs, and then we found him left out of the side. You've got to sympathise with the fact that a number of their key bowlers, particularly the experience of someone like Jason Behrendorff, were missing because of injury. So not their first choice overseas players were all available, and I think that really did impact them. But then you have to question, I suppose, the depth and experience, or the lack of experience, I should put it, of their overseas bench. Tilak Varma, I think, was outstanding with the batter game. He came in and rescued many situations and put some sort of totals on the board for MI. And outside of that, you can look at someone like Chawla, who again stood up as a veteran spinner and had an impact in a number of games. He took a number of big scalps too of opposition players, which obviously helped Mumbai's causes in a number of games. I think you need to sit down and have an honest conversation with both of them in the same room. As simple as that. You've got Rohit Sharma, who's captaining India in a World Cup, who's a recognised and successful leader that's got multiple trophies for MI. You could argue, as equal to MS Dhoni as the most successful captain in IPL history. You need to understand exactly what his thoughts are moving forward in the next cycle from a playing perspective, but also a leadership perspective, and have the same conversation with Hardik Pandya around is it an experience he wants to continue with, or has he felt that this season has carried too much of a burden on him personally and on his own performance? Because ultimately what you want is Hardik Pandya back, the cricketer, the batter that has an impact as a middle order batter, and the bowler that can help change the game in those middle overs. And I think that's something that we haven't seen this year from Hardik Pandya, in all the games played by MI. It all started with the Jofra Archer purchase, I think, where they felt that was a critical moment. You can't really criticise that either, because Jofra Archer is a generational type fast bowler, a bit like Jasprit Bumrah, and their vision was seeing both of them bowl at the same time, and that is certainly something to grab hold of. And I think that really did affect them, because obviously the purse from the first point has an impact there, and your flexibility on what you can secure in your 3-year cycle. And also you look at the spinning department, as well as Piyush Chawla did as a spinner. They didn't really have that impact spinner, which I think would have been really valuable for them. So whether they got that through the overseas purchase, or whether that be a domestic trade or a domestic purchase in getting a quality spinner, I think they would have certainly helped their causes. And then around their overseas, just finally, a number of their overseas players just didn't have the experience. I think that really was showing in this particular season, but ideally you want to have bench strength that has experience from an overseas standpoint to help you sort of patch up the balance of the side when need be.